Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Career Talks by Ontology of Value. And today we'll talk about digital marketing. We have a special guest, Dr. Dmitry Gritsenko, who transferred from physics and mechanical engineering straight to digital marketing, which is, I think, a very interesting transition. So, Dr. Dmitry Gritsenko graduated from physics from Lomonosov Moscow State University and then moved to the US, where in 2019 he received his PhD in mechanical engineering from the University of Chicago, Illinois. Today, he's a full-stack digital marketeer at Xhuman and botifyai, who can't resist a New York steak paired with Kentucky straight bourbon. His entrepreneurial mindset dictates financial independence and launching a digital marketing agency in a long-term perspective. He would also love to embrace his adorable wife's passion for interior design and event planning. And today we'll talk about his interesting career path and the mysterious ways in which he ended up doing full-time digital marketing, which he's quite passionate about. So this was by no means by accident that he became a digital marketeer. And welcome to the episode, and let's get going. Thank you so much, Dmitry, for joining us today. Thank you for accepting the invitation. You're actually the first guest in this channel whom I originally met in LinkedIn, not in real life. So that's going to be a very interesting conversation. And actually, that also I think, is a sign of how networking changes now in 2022, how different it is from what it used to be. So thank you so much again for joining us today. And I'd like to first hear a little bit about your background and career story.
Hi, Natalia. Thanks for having me. Hi, everyone. So I'm Dmitry Gritsenko from Oak Park, Illinois. And I have not that traditional career story, like getting your degree and then applying it for industry. For me, it was really a very abrupt switch of the fields. But to the point where I am right now, I'm pretty happy and love to share my story with you. So very quickly, let's just trace it back to my childhood. So my very first memory, the first stop, was my grandpa when I was at the age of 10. And once I approached my grandpa, who looked pretty much upset. And at that time, he was the SEO of a manufacturing company. So I was just a little kid. It's just, you can't think of anything the kid can help his CEO grandpa. So I asked him, hey, grandpa, why are you looking so upset? And he was, I just have no idea where I can get money to make my business bigger. That's like a really layman way to say it. So, and I was like, come on, grandpa, you just can go to the bank, borrow something from them, and should help. So, spoiler alert, he did it later, and it worked. And at that time, little did I know that I'll be using all the credit system, the credit cards when staying here in the US, and here it's just some basics. You just can't avoid it anyhow. So, well, the next step, I would say, or the next stop would be probably my primary school and high school. Here, the major thing I would like to mention is that I actually had zero knowledge of English when I entered my middle school. So by the end of the high school, thanks to my parents, specifically to my dad, I was able, to travel abroad, to talk with people, just make friends and stuff. So, and that was an important part because eventually here, when doing all my master's and PhD later on, that was a must to enter the academic society. and community. So then let's make a huge jump. I just want to skip all my bachelor, which was in physics, and then the next one, my master's. Were finding me on my first year of master's, still in physics, under great scientist, researcher, Professor Mitrofanov. So I was working with him, being pretty happy. And one important thing here again was that in this lab, we all published in English, so that contributed great to the way I gained my knowledge, gained all the information. And here probably for the first time, I was starting to think about editing or writing in a concise way. And that later on brought me to all the content story and content marketing, everything I'm doing right now. So I consider this, I would say, 2012 as a starting point. So what was the problem here? Eventually, to do my research, I had to read the bulk of papers, and here was one major problem. I was reading and reading and reading it, and pretty often it was like, guys, you're writing in a way, you are doing a great research, but the way you present it, the way you write, really creates an feeling that you just want to hide something. What people do, somehow replicate it, reproduce it, and develop it further. Well, of course, it depends on the field. I'm not saying for everything, but I was doing research in physics of vibrations, and here I was. So I decided to approach it really differently, saying, okay, I will try to explain my research and write my papers in a way that everyone can understand it. It should be simple, concise, and reproducible. So, and that was how I did it. And at the same time, at that point, I was interested in pursuing my academic career and going further to PhD. Here, one of the major contributors, like driving forces for me, was my lab mate and friend, Oleg Kiruhin, who actually helped me a lot in understanding how things work in the US, because he grew up here and then get back to our country, to Russia. So it was my guide, really. And I wouldn't say it was that easy even getting accepted, because honestly, I applied for the first year and it didn't work. I was just like, got nothing. So for the second year, oh yeah, and I was applying specifically to Chicago, because we just want to work together, live at the same place. And so the second attempt, second year, it worked. So perfect. I'm here in the US, a lot of stuff happening. But I would say my very first year of PhD was just a complete mess, because like, what I'm doing, like what is all this research about? What's this topic? And then I got married, and brought after 1 year, brought my wife to here to the US. And actually it helped me a lot, because I got backed up. I can really focus on my research, on my studies, understanding and knowing that I have somebody who can support me, help me, and do a lot of stuff, very basic, simple, our place. So here again, when I joined lab, even though it was in the US, I found at some point an exact same situation, that I was trying my best not only to understand what I'm going to do. And here, I would say I had a very open-minded advisor, Professor Shu, who was just allowed me to do almost everything was the only requirement, by a certain time you should start publishing. So I was trying really, bunch of things here, there, everywhere, almost everything, until actually find one, two, three things. Actually, I had three very different topics in my thesis, but this was actually how it worked, and in a way that I really preferred, and this is something he taught me, not focusing on really on the one thing. Always think bigger, think out of box, and consider something new. So back to my research and lab time. I again started being obsessed with the content and presenting my results, and later on my lab mates, in a nice way, so that people can understand it. Actually, I became like a part-time editor for the lab, of course, not officially, but every time I had my colleagues, like master's students, other PhD students, publishing something, just came to me saying, "Can you proofread it? Can you somehow make it better?" And I read it, and that's partially how, by the end of my PhD, I got 10 papers published. And let's jump to 2017, where I really, first time I got to the first experience to, first chance, I would say, to deal somehow with business, industry, and that's all thanks to my wife, who had a student who luckily at this time was also as an SEO of a dating startup. So at some point and it was in Eastern Europe. So at some point he decided to scale his business. The best market to enter, of course, the United States. So what should we do for it? To localize, to translate everything, make it nice and neat, and for people to understand and to use. Now, of course, dating is super competitive, and it still is. So it was quite challenging, but I was super happy. Like, oh my God, this is the first time I'm dealing with some product that actually works, that generates some revenue, and I can see the result of my work right here in the app, on the website, here, there, everywhere. So 5 months later, I was already a little bit more familiar with the product and how everything works for them, but it was still a surprise that the company, at that time, it was it called Datecoin. So it was a nice combination of dating and blockchain, because we have our own tokens to pay for the services, and we're actually at an ICO, initial coin offering stage, trying to get not very first investors, because we had some angels, but to further scale and develop our product. So they invited me to go with them to the blockchain conference in Singapore, and for me it was really the very first business event of my life. And for day one, I was just on the stand with some other team members, and we were presenting our product to all people who pass by. So back to day two, Sale is approaching me and saying, you know what? We just met a nice investor, and eventually in an hour, we need to pitch to him for this project. And it looks like that you're the best person to do, because you know the product and your English is a little bit better. So I was like, okay, I have 1 hour to prepare. And actually it worked. So we secured some funding from them. And I felt very energetic and felt responsibility because this was just really the first time, and I was like, how should I do it? And so honestly, I just try to be sincere, to tell everything I know, and to transfer my excitement about the product and how nice and unique it is. So, but it was a startup. And as you may know, like 7 or 8 out of 10 startups fail. So this one failed. I was absolutely okay. So we're still in dating. So let's step back and I think what we can do next, because we are already on the US market. We know a little bit, some investors. So the next thing was LGBTQ plus dating, a very specific niche, but I would say it worked way more better. And while for this first startup, I was just learning how to basically localize the product and make a little bit pitching. It was just really a starting point. So for the next dating thing, it was almost everything, because we secured way more funding and everything started because we need to market it. It was the first time I actually dealt with the search engine optimization, and then we're doing, of course, doing our website, making our blog, and going with socials. And as it often happens in a startup, you have to wear multiple hats, and or eventually I would even put it in a different way. So we have a bunch of problems starting every morning, and so the way to solve it, just for people who can do it better, they just volunteer. And okay, here is the problem. Okay, I'm raising my hand. I'm gonna fix it, and that's it. And that's actually how it worked. So I would say this was a tremendous experience, even though it didn't work out for a very specific reason. I'll mention a little bit later, but still, first of all, I kind of learned the terminology and dived, actually made my very first dive in some of the components of the digital marketing I'm working now. So, well, why didn't it work? Because of the COVID. So we were just about to raise the next funding round, and so then boom, COVID hit, and we were primarily focused at this point on the New York market. Everything shut down, and of course, for people didn't date. We honestly made an attempt to go virtual, like implementing video calls and stuff, but we're really too small to get the job done. And that was, I would say, it was the end of the 2020, and I would say by far was the harshest times for me. Why? Well, oh yeah, actually, I forgot to mention, but that time I already finished my PhD, and I'm mentioning because at this point it was not the mainstream, and was still doing a postdoc basically at the same department, and a little bit different direction. So yeah, I got my PhD in mechanical engineering. Yeah, but for my postdoc, even being on the same department, I was actually doing applied maths. But that's just like for reference to understand that my field had nothing to do with content and with the content marketing and the digital marketing. So back to what was happening at the very end of the 2020. So in October, our dating startup was shut down. No funny. Then December, 2020, 1 week before Christmas. My postdoc supervisor announces that he cannot support me for the next year. So I was like, no sources of income, and 1 week before Christmas. That was crazy. So I just took an extraordinary measures, and I secured the contract for one of the companies that was doing academic editing. Not a US based, nothing very low paid, but I was just okay. I will work for a short time. I'll work for them long hours just to support my living. So some months, I would say probably 3, 4, 5 months, I was working for that. That was, I would say, a little bit nightmare because at that time I was simultaneously looking for a job, and applying. But at that time, I haven't decided yet what I want to do. So because the very first and natural step was like, okay, you have your degree, you're kind of doing math, so probably you should just apply to the companies that they're doing it. But didn't work out for me at all. I mean, I applied to a bunch of places, but that was probably because what I wanted to do was really about data science, but I, I didn't have enough coding experience. So nevertheless, by the mid 2021, I found myself in a cool virtual reality startup. So it was like a full cycle thing. So developing software, developing cameras, having their own platform. So that was again it all started with localizing, translating, and all this stuff. And then again, as I'm just explaining this because it looks like for multiple startups I was working for, the steps were pretty much the same. So first we were localizing and translating everything, and then came all sort of activities, including search engine optimization, and then eventually going to socials and posting everything here and there. And this experience for a while became a major thing for me because I dived deeper and had multiple things to do. Actually, starting from simple editing for daily posts for our contractors because they could do everything like planning, generating it, but not writing it in a good English. So, and then also manager stuff like creating statements of work, sending them to contractors, getting back, checking everything, and publishing myself, and ensuring it looks great on our website. And if it's not, just going to our product team or developer says, hey guys, we need to improve something on our website because what I can see in our blog is not nice at all. And of course, I was really obsessed with the technology because this virtual reality. This is definitely it is already a big thing today, but I foresee a way more wider applications was for this, especially with all the metaverses and major companies like Google and Meta making their step in it and offering affordable products. So now again, even though this was my major thing, I always had some side hustles. So one thing I was also doing was actually, we called it Kids Startup. So what was it about? We made a mobile app that offered game ideas for toddlers or preschoolers and their parents. And ironically, even though it was a mobile app, one of our major messages was, well, your kids are having too much screen time. Let's go outside, let's play with them, and then please use your screen to get the job done. So uh, for this one, I was mostly involved in, again, localizing the product, but also learned something completely different. So as long as it is US-based startup, and I was the only person in the US, and we should launch some of our business operations. So I had to learn how to open business accounts, how to manage them, what are all these articles of incorporation, how to get all the tax numbers, how to set up ACH, domestic, international wires, paying to contractors. And I would say it was pretty interesting because even though I didn't do it before, I, I was always looking in banking and surprised how it has been evolving with time and how much you can do with just your mobile phone in terms of finances and transferring funds and doing whatever you want with them. So yeah, here at this point I would like to mention one more project, which we haven't finished actually, but I would say the one I kind of learned the most. So the idea behind it was to create a platform to hire IT specialists worldwide for cheaper as a service. So here, as a part of this project, I attended a class of Russell Brunson, who was he was teaching the way how you create your product and using sales funnels and advertising it to the clients. So I was absolutely obsessed with, the energy, and I still remember all this stuff. Like, okay, guys, so very, very simple, like hook, story, offer. This is how you should build it, and then you have three components of whatever your sales page is: emotional, logical, and urgency. So, but for advertising, but it's just something. I think I paid like $100 for this, but this thing is still with me and almost using in everyday basis. So the next step and next absolutely amazing technology, artificial intelligence. And this is the one I'm still working now. So this is the company is called X-Human, and we're developing digital humans, those with empathy and emotions. And here again, I'm doing the content part, but I would say it's way more broader because it requires way more content. So because you need to create a persona for digital humans, and then you need to educate them how to speak with a natural language, how basically to be a human or be even better than human. So the options here are either we're creating some bots like famous persons, or we give our users a chance to create their own bots and actually shape their personas. So here it's actually for the people to entertain, and they can create whatever bot. Like one of those famous examples, like okay, how about for the people who are interested to create a replica of their ex and say everything he didn't say in the past. So for this startup for X-Human, I'm really in luck because we have a visionary SEO who also has a great personality, Artem Rodichev, and he is also a Y Combinator graduate. So it's a future-looking business. I'm involved right now, and I'm absolutely happy about this one. Oh yeah, by the way, just the very fresh news from this week. My VR project, VR entertainment, is over. So eventually, earlier this week, I got laid off. So, but I'm open to all the new opportunities. I think even better, more to come. For now, I was doing this, creating digital humans and bringing it to the masses.
Okay, so I would like to now ask you a few questions.
Sure.
Normally, these meetings have a formula of interviews, but yeah, like your story was like a river, so I didn't want to interrupt you. It made perfect sense from the beginning to the end. So, but I like to ask you now, in the name of our viewers, how, first of all, I have to say that it was very logical in the sense that I don't have to ask you why you chose digital marketing because it seems that it was quite an organic story. So you slowly moved towards mechanical engineering, towards from mechanical engineering towards digital marketing, and it was a process, right? So I like the story in the sense that it's very like yeah, it like flows in a very like logical order, and it seems that you were also reacting to the situation, right? So okay, this is what we need, let's learn this, and now this is what we need at the moment, let's figure that out. And that's how it seems that you basically, yeah, you were just intelligently maneuvering and navigating depending on the situation. So I like to ask you, given that you have all this like broad background in physics and engineering, how does do you use any of this background in your current job, or is the ability to write your main asset at the moment?
Well, I would say two things about it. Of course, writing skills were those I gained through my master's and PhD and postdoc as well. But I would say another very important thing is actually the one you already mentioned, logical thinking. So the way how you can construct an approach to the things. So like you have a starting point and you have some steps to develop. And without that, without my background, I would say it would be impossible to present the stories in a logical way and a step by step and in the one that is easy to digest. Because after all, when I was doing research, as I mentioned previously, my one of my obsessions was like, well, how could I present it in a way that people are reading it, saying, okay, it's simple. Okay, this is a starting point. This is step one, step two, and this is how we got to major results, and this is how we can interpret them and understand, and then finally, what's next? And this is actually how it works for most of my startups. So like from getting some angel, from generating idea to pitching it to angel investors, to making some MVPs and seeing how it works, and debugging it, and then okay, now we have something working. We need to scale. We need to enter different markets. So we need to market it. We need to let people know about us. And this is always very, very logical in the way you build it, and in steps. And here I think my technical background is very, very valuable.
Yeah, but definitely logical thinking helps. And also, I think, especially in digital marketing, some like large part of it is quantitative, right? You have to, even starting from the simplest A/B testing, you have to look at the numbers, right? It's, just go toward the direction where things work. So you have to use statistics everywhere. It's not just, it's evidence based. It's not only guessing, but or taking educated guess, but it's in fact iterative process supported by the data. So it's much more research-like than many people think, I think, on certain level. And also, I would like to ask you, and I'm actually curious because many of people I personally know, once they step into this blockchain rabbit hole, they actually get sucked in and they never get out of it. So they go more and more in that direction, start trading shit coins, and then start setting new startups, and basically they never really come back to real world from that hole. So do you miss blockchain? It's a bit of a crazy environment, right? Like where things happen very quickly, catastrophes happen every day. It's like a like regular IT market, but on steroids. Like that's how I feel about it, which is exciting as well. So it's like both thrill and excitement in one. So I was just curious if don't you miss blockchain industry and being a part of it?
Well, I would say, of course, I miss it a little bit, and then you know, if you want to get excited, you should risk. So, anyways, but I'm still in touch with it in a way that I'm doing some cryptocurrency stuff somehow, a little bit, just as a side hustle. So, but I consider it as one of my future directions for professional development, because I do have some banking experience, as I mentioned, and a little bit of crypto trading. So, and at the same time, I can see crypto banks are really emerging as an alternative to traditional banking. So I would
Well,
say this is probably the next thing I would like to try, because actually I'll tell you a short story, just for people who probably heard about recent news about FTX exchange that collapsed. So I had an account with them, and I even had a debit card with them. Luckily, they allowed me to transfer all the funds to another exchange, so I kind of lost nothing. I was in luck. So, but it was really for the first time I got a physical crypto card, and I was absolutely amazed with that. And even more here in the US, crypto applications, or I mean the way you can just go to regular whatever department store or a Starbucks and pay, coming relatively slowly. But I was absolutely thrilled, and I got this card, get some fraction of Bitcoin, and then went to the nearest shop like Whole Foods and just paid with this crypto card. And I mean, I was like, okay, this is a future is coming, and then boom, they're like collapse. But anyways, this is something I would say I'm very curious about, and I'm very optimistic uh, just simply because of the speed how things work in crypto. So let's say in business, if you want to make business transactions, they usually say, oh, okay, you're sending this international wires, okay, 3 to 5 business days, and that's normal. It's like that's how things work in they're going through their clearinghouses and other whatever stuff it is. In crypto, you can do it in minutes, if not in seconds, really. So why to wait 3 to 5 business days if you can do it in minutes?
Where there are, I mean, many nuances. Like recently, there was this debate on commodities versus the securities. But actually, most cryptos are securities, not commodities, because they are pre-mined. So yeah, they will be treated as such. And actually, this is, I mean, I'm not the expert. I don't want to like take a stance on the future of crypto. I also think in one way or another it will work in the future. But actually, now I have another question relating to your career in digital marketing, which is I'm actually curious how you deal with this change in status. So, like social status of scientists, especially physicists, and also PhDs. I think, especially in the US, where higher education is not as available as it is in Europe, uh, that's actually quite a high status, and I could feel that myself. Actually, I spent two months this year in the US, and I had that feeling that actually my PhD title means something there, and it actually matters to people. And how do you feel about your career in marketing? Because I feel like the marketing is at the other side of the spectrum, right? Marketing, when people hear career, yeah, when people hear like I'm a marketeer, they're like, ooh, marketeer, you're this hustler who tries to sell people stuff that they don't need. And I have a feeling that I mean, that's not the essence of my job, but I also have to sell products for my company. So, like sometimes even being an entrepreneur or a freelancer, people like actually look at it differently. So, don't um, don't you feel that you miss that status of a scientist that you used to have just a few years back? I mean, once a PhD, always a PhD, of course. Like we will always be doctors of STEM sciences, but uh, do you think that social status matters to you or is completely irrelevant for your career?
I would say it's definitely valuable in terms of having PhD, but then it's basically a huge problem there in a way that if continuing somehow academic career, like it all move, it's very competitive and it moves very, very slowly. I mean, okay, so what's next? Like getting postdoc, and so what's assistant professor here in the US, at least from my advisor perspective. Well, at least 6 years without any changes and with a risk of getting actually thrown out if you're not showing enough funding required. Uh, and then, okay, finally securing something tenure, but like if you do like research and you have enough, actually, I have enough backup. Oh, I just remembered how one of the professors from my department said, you know what, to safely do your PhD and pursue academic career, you should probably have millionaire parents. Then you're on the safe side. You don't need to think about everyday needs. They're all supported. It's controversial, of course, I would say, but from my perspective, I have way more opportunities in marketing, and it is way more dynamic. I would say for this last year, I learned a lot, really huge, a lot, and I was entering just with some understanding and of course an experience in different branches of digital marketing. Now, when I was living this VR startup, okay, I know how to do things at some point and already. Okay, let's do it. Let's replicate it for another projects I'm working for it. So the what I'm trying to say is the learning curve is a way more steep, and eventually the chances are like, because I'm as a part of the company, of course, I'm targeting executive positions like CMO or stuff, and it's possible. It's just there is a career path for that. For science, I honestly don't know what I was doing it for say a year, and of course, whether we want it or not, it's a question of pay. So when I'm doing what I'm doing, it's up to me how high I can go in terms of my annual income. Of course, there is market, the job market, the situation and economy, and the stuff. But pursuing an American dream and just working hard, and I believe it's good. It is working, and it's gonna work in the future. That's why digital marketing. And aside of that, of course, why digital marketing? Because anytime we need to sell something to the people, whatever the situation in the economy. Okay, well, sometimes it's going really harsh. We do have financial crises, but this is actually the opportunity to invent something new. Okay, traditional approaches do not work anymore. People are in trouble. They're depressed. We need to invent something new to get a key to their soul and still pursue them to buy our stuff.
Actually, more and more people are only to be found online these days. Actually, a few months ago, I was walking around my street in Nijmegen, just putting leaflets in mailboxes because I wanted to invite my neighbors to try my test that I've built in my company for free, of course. And so I wanted to give them this invitation. And I was basically walking from door to door, and I discovered that about 10% of all the mailboxes they were like filled with cement, so I could not open them. So people basically disabled others from the possibility of send any letters to them. So the only way of contacting them is to have their phone number or email. Just find them online, and that's the only way. So I think definitely digital marketing is the future of marketing because it's no longer possible to reach everyone just like that. And I think this trend will progress. So people actually have high preference for online communications, and which is good or bad. I mean, depending how big you are online, right? Like once you become visible, it's like it's a blessing. But actually, I started my company just before the pandemic, so for me that was also like not the very best time because yeah, you can imagine if you have no exposure, that's just deadly time to start.
Yeah.
But actually, I have a question about your daily life as a digital marketeer. So I can imagine you mostly work from home, or maybe I'm wrong, but I would be curious to hear more about that. And also, since you describe yourself as a full stack a digital marketeer who can juggle many aspects, as you mentioned, many aspects of the digital marketing job from content creation through SEO to creating campaigns, online campaigns, then I like to also hear about which one of those is your favorite, and also which one of those you would recommend people who might be interested in starting this career to learn first. And yeah, so I would like to hear more about your everyday job.
Okay, starting from the remote versus hybrid versus on-site. I would say, well before the pandemic, I went to working from home. I was lucky at some point because for my research, I was doing theory and applied math. So all I needed was just my computer and some sort of the softwares I needed to do my research, do my calculations, and writing all my papers. So I think it was at least as of late 2019, I almost stopped coming to my lab. So probably like couple or three times per week, just to see my lab mates, probably to chat with them a little bit, and to see my advisor and present some results to him, and consult about some further steps. So I'm pretty much an remote person, and another specific reason for that last year we got our first baby, and I only have me and my wife over there in the US. So we basically, of course, we do have our local community here for helping us a lot, but still at the very basic daily level, there are only two of us, and I really can't afford going to the office. And actually, I don't want to, this 9 to 5 or whatever, 8 to 4 doesn't work for me really, because I mean, I can start working at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. in the morning, depending on what's going on with the baby, or like whatever. We may need to do something in the morning, and like to see the doctor for the baby, or make some grocery shopping, and then again I can work till with some interruptions till maybe 1 a.m. sometimes, or like 2 a.m. And that's, I mean, for me, it's absolutely okay. And this flexibility is something I don't want to change to at any extent, at least for now, I would say. For going to the office, sitting here, and especially something monitoring whatever my working hours or what I'm doing in this particular moment. Or for example, I got a little bit distracted, something I need to help, say, to help my wife, or whatever stuff, or I just got some Amazon delivery, everything. So yeah, I'm 100% advocate for the remote work, at least. Well, for digital marketing, as long as it's digital, it 100% makes sense. Well, I do have some friends with their engineering background, and they just go into some plants or some premises or houses where they need to repair some stuff. No doubt, this cannot go remote. Though I may think of the virtual reality as the way to do it, because like a couple of years ago, I could see people virtually exploring some sites, like engineers or construction workers, just going here using VR, and even sometimes fixing some problems. It's actually a combination of virtual reality and augmented reality, when you can can be transferred to the actual site and see what's going on here. So I would say, really, even the pandemic gave it a huge kick to the development of all the remote employment, but I strongly believe it's gonna stay here for a while. Now, when it comes to your second question, which part of the digital marketing is my favorite? Uh, it's really evolving. So at the very beginning, I was really obsessed with creating content, just writing it in a very nice, interesting way to the people. Now, I would say, probably because again, my technical background, uh, it's more about analyzing. So how actually our content, how does it perform? So and my most recent experience with the virtual reality entertainment platform was actually about how we can advertise it. So, okay, we're creating a nice content, but the audiences that reach this content is kind of limited. So eventually we need to advertise it and see how it works. And all came from okay, so we first need to attract more people to our socials like Twitter. Oh, actually, I would say till some point I was kind of skeptical about Twitter. So like, okay, Twitter, well, it's a nice channel, but not that major one. Probably use then probably last year for sure. I'm thinking about it actually as one of the main channels for advertising because partly because they do have very mild restrictions of what you can actually don't do on Twitter. You can do almost everything. Instagram can ban you for whatever, really. I mean, you're just doing some wrong step, they can ban you for life. Depends on what you're doing, of course, your field, but still, we experience this thing in VR. So now, yeah, it's for me, it's really about analyzing the performance, and it's I would say it is really more about doing some management already from but I still get excited when I need to create some short form pieces like some email marketing pieces or even for digital humans still creating content is very fascinating, partly because you basically create new personalities really from scratch. So all you get is uh, artificial intelligence generates your picture, and it's the way it generates. You really don't know where does it get all the information to get the picture, and you're looking on this character that in reality it does not exist, and then you bring it to life and you need to describe it in the best detailed way, like okay, what's basically tell the story. So at this point this storytelling becoming way more interesting for me again. So I would say it's really flexible. So for now, well, analyzing performance, but still creating personas with using some authentic content. Probably two major things I love doing in digital marketing.
Right, thank you for this explanation. Yeah, probably digital marketing is one of the fastest growing branches of IT. Well, I mean, the I guess the most both the demand and the number of available tools uh, grow almost exponentially. So I'm curious how this type of career will look in 5 years or 10 years. Probably it will get more specialized, but yeah, I'm looking forward to see, and I hope that digital marketers will be more respected and more like appreciated for what they do. It's a hard job for sure because it also requires empathy, it requires understanding of the market, it requires business intelligence. So it really it's a challenging type of career. Okay, so uh, if you had a chance to give young people who are thinking of stepping into digital marketing one piece of advice, what would that be?
Uh will be let's do it in two parts. So first, I would like to quote Elon Musk. I'll try to do it as close as I can. So what is he saying is that it is absolutely okay to put all your eggs in the same basket, as long as you control what's happening to this basket. From my side, I would add, don't do it until you're Elon Musk yourself. Yeah. I'm just, I must mention the person who actually introduced me to the entire business world, and I briefly told about them. So he was my wife's language student. So, and then Nikita Anufriев, really the person who introduced me to the world of business, startups. Was the one I was working through several dating startups, basically from scratch, and embracing all the opportunities to develop professionally, to gain experience in different branches of digital marketing. I would like to thank you for inviting me and sharing my experience, and showing people that actually there is a lot outside of your PhD, a lot of things you can embrace, and probably one more advice that is a little bit less not business, or putting it in layman terms, like I said, about putting all the eggs in the same basket. Just try to do something else. Never focus on one thing.
That's it. Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much, Dmitry, for your career story, and for sharing with us, and for all this interesting information about the careers in digital marketing. I think it's actually a direction that more and more people will consider in the future, also because of the flexibility it gives. And as you said, the space will only grow, and the possibilities are endless. So thank you so much, and I wish you luck with your future entrepreneurial efforts that you are already declaring to undertake. So good luck with that, and I hope we stay in touch. So thank you guys for watching this episode, and of course, to get more content like this, please subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.